how can you this year cultivate the energy around you that even if you tried, even if someone else tried, you could not block, you could not stop the blessings, the abundance, the opportunities that are coming your way. Well, it is not only a brand new year, it is also a brand new era for the Powerhouse Women podcast, and I cannot wait to share with you everything I have been working on behind the scenes. Starting with, if you're listening to this in audio, we now have full video episodes for every single one, solo and guest episodes. If you are watching this on YouTube, welcome to my home studio. This is my office. It's the place that I work every single day and I connect with you every single day. And it's the place where I dream big. And the idea, the intention behind sharing more of this with you, sharing more behind the scenes, really inviting you in, is to create a deeper sense of connection. I know I love when you share on social media or on Instagram stories where you are when you listen to the podcast. So how fun for me to get to share with you where I am when I'm recording it. And my hope is that you'll feel like you are sitting down with a friend. We are just having a heart-to-heart, having a conversation about how to actually make your big ideas and dreams come to life. Because that has always been what the Powerhouse Women podcast and community and event and all of our programs are all about. So I'm so excited to connect with you in this new way, and lots more to come. But I love to start the new year off with a series talking about personal transformation, personal growth, and ultimately who we all want to become in this next year. Because if you're anything like me, you have goals, you have maybe your business goals mapped out for the year. Maybe you have an idea of the person you want to evolve into and some of the things you want to experience. So I want to have this conversation about how to actually put yourself in a position to achieve all of that and so much more. How do you actually become a magnet that attracts in the exact people and connections, the opportunities, and of course, the abundance that you want to experience this year? Because with all of that comes the impact that I also know that you're here to make. So we're starting this new series all about becoming undeniable. And we talked a lot about this word undeniable in the previous year. I didn't choose a word of the year, but if I did, this would have been the word that I chose because it just really resonated with me. Undeniable has this energy to it of you couldn't stop the blessings from coming my way, even if you tried. And that's the energy I want to invite all of us into for this next year. Even though it's not my word of 2024, I do have a word, and I'll share that, I'm sure, at some point in this series. But there's something about the undeniable energy that, if you tap into it, becomes this effortless magnet for so many of the things that maybe you've even struggled for a few years to achieve and to experience. So I want to create a place where we can unpack some of the fundamentals, some of the realities that I've learned, that I've learned from other mentors and teachers, what it actually takes in order for you to experience yourself as this magnet. And maybe you've seen or heard or you've experienced this before, where have you ever just seen a person where, for whatever reason, they seem to effortlessly attract all these great opportunities? Or they're just always connecting with really cool people, or it just seems like they always have the financial resources that they need. And if you're honest, and this is me, because I definitely have felt this way, maybe you've even kind of been a little annoyed by this. Like, why is it that it just seems so easy for them? What you're picking up on and what you're probably noticing, if it's legit, if it's real, and you know, if these connections, these opportunities, and this abundance are actually coming into this person's life, They have honed in on an energy that becomes a magnet. And that is very much how the universe works. That's very much how the world works around us. And if we can learn to cultivate that inner energy within ourselves and really learn what it takes to turn it on, and then the things that we unintentionally do to disconnect and turn it off, what you'll notice is that you can so much more effortlessly move forward in the actions that obviously you have to take action in order to achieve great things, but you're taking action with a whole different sense of energy behind it. And ultimately, if I look back at my own journey of building a business, of stepping into the person I've become, the place where I have unintentionally sabotaged myself and slowed myself down for years is focusing way, way too much on just what I was doing and not enough on who I was being, how I was operating, the thoughts I was thinking, the beliefs that I held, the paradigm that I viewed the entire world through. That ultimately is an indicator of success just as much as, if not more, than the actions that we take. So what does it actually require to become undeniable? How can you this year cultivate the energy around you that even if you tried, even if someone else tried, you could not block, you could not stop the blessings, the abundance, the opportunities that are coming your way? If that is the kind of year you are committed to having, then you are in the right place. And this series is going to be so good. Oh my goodness. I've been really working on it over the last couple of months and deeply thinking about my own journey, but also learning a lot of lessons. A lot of what I shared with you guys last year was how it's still, and I'm kind of still in this season, a season of more stillness, a season of a lot more introspection, looking within. And what I'm looking at and often identifying is the patterns that just can't come with me where I'm going next. So a lot of the process of becoming undeniable isn't so much about gaining new skills or becoming more worthy. What I'm learning is that it's actually about unbecoming everything that I need to abandon and shift in order to step into the person I'm meant to become. It's why I feel this deep knowing inside of me that I'm meant for more. And if you feel that too, it means there is untapped potential within us. And it is begging us, it is asking us to look within, to become the version of us, the person we need to become in order to have that result and make that impact. So it's so much more of an inner game than it is the outward actions. The actions are just a reflection of what I'm experiencing inside. And a lot of that process for me this year has been looking at this question of, where am I denying myself? So if I'm going to become undeniable, I have to first look at, where have I been denying myself? And the same goes for you. Now, that might be a little confronting for someone. You might hear that and immediately think, well, I'm not denying myself of anything. Other people hold the keys to my opportunities. Other people are either saying, yes, you're invited into that friend group, or no, you're not. Other people are deciding whether to do business with me or not. And what we unintentionally do when we look at our surroundings, at our environment through that lens is we're giving away our power. We're putting the power in the hands of someone or something else, which is this victim mentality that does not hold the kind of power necessary in order to really shift your surroundings. And so the first place that I had to look is, well, where am I denying myself by giving my power away to anyone else outside of me? And where can I bring that power back in? Where can I bring it back? And instead of looking for someone to validate me, someone to have the keys to my success, where can I instead look at where that power, if used for good, if that power is applied to the inner growth that needs to happen before the actions might even present themselves, then as I start to focus inward and really uncover where have I been denying myself and do the work to move through it, that all of a sudden new actions, new opportunities for action reveal themselves. So if we're going to really dive into this series of becoming undeniable, it's to realize that being undeniable is a state of being. Your opportunities, your success, your abundance don't only come from the actions that you take. In fact, the actions that you take should be an overflow of how you're showing up and the thoughts that you're thinking and the beliefs that you're operating from, because those then are going to be the right actions to produce the result that you ultimately want. So I want you to sit with this question. Where am I denying myself? Where have I outsourced my power? Where have I given away my validation and put it in the hands of someone else? Where can I bring it back into my own being and instead operate this year? It's a fresh, clean slate. Operate this year from a place of knowing and really understanding that my undeniability starts when I realize that I've held the power all along, that no one else does. I can't wait to dive into the rest of this series with you. I'm breaking it up intentionally to give you some space to really sit with this question today of, well, where have I been denying myself? And in each episode of this series, we're going to look a little bit closer at the ways that we deny ourselves. And the first one that, for me, looking back on my journey, especially at the beginnings of Powerhouse Women, I denied myself for years by waiting to feel more ready. That was the belief, that was the perspective that I was looking at my life and my purpose through, was waiting to feel more ready before I took the first action. In order to be undeniable, in order to make an undeniable impact, it starts by realizing that you take the first step in faith before the next step or the rest of the path is revealed. We just have to say yes and answer the call. What the call sounds like and feels like is that undeniable feeling inside that you are meant for more. The call is that little idea that's like, maybe I could start a podcast. Maybe I could have an event. Maybe I could speak on stage one day. Maybe I could start that business, or maybe I could volunteer and start helping people. I just, for whatever reason, can't shake this feeling that I'm meant to serve in this specific way. That is what the call sounds like, feels like. In your body, it feels like this. I remember I used to describe it as, I have this feeling that just is ready to burst out of me. I'm just so ready to do something big. But what I overlooked was that the first step toward doing something big is a small step in faith. And when you're taking those small steps, you're really starting this process of not denying yourself anymore, but you're getting to the part where faith can actually play a part. If you're only operating when and if you have the full picture and the full validation that, yes, this is going to work out, and you have complete control and certainty, you don't require faith. There's no room for miracles to occur. And I see this so often in our community. I saw it in my own journey, and still to this day, I do this. I wait until I feel more ready before I take the first step, before I go to take that first step in faith. So where right now are you denying yourself by waiting to feel ready or waiting for someone else to validate you and come along with a little magic fairy wand and say like, okay, it's your turn? Where can you say and decide for yourself that it is your turn and take that first step in faith, no matter how small it is? You know, for me right now, something I've been feeling a lot over the last 2 years was just this sense that more visibility, whatever we want to call that, is necessary in order for me to make the impact that I want to make. And that didn't happen right away. If you are someone who's out there leading and serving, and you also share this deep knowing that you've got to have more visibility, more people need to know about what you're doing and the impact you're making if you're going to make the full impact that you're meant to make. And more visibility felt really, really uncomfortable. And so I've been peeling back these layers over the last 2 years, especially, really looking at where I'm denying myself, where the beliefs and the habits of showing up or not showing up, where I was playing small or staying comfortable in order to avoid being seen. And then I had to look at, well, where were some of the fears? What were the fears or the limiting beliefs associated with not showing up in a bigger way? And little by little, really stripping away, like one layer at a time, what has been in the way for me to take these bigger steps and be seen in a bigger way. So I'm going to take you along in this journey with me, because this new investment in the podcast is actually one big example of that. We really sat down and said, okay, if we want to go all in on the podcast, and we know that this is such a huge tool to reach more of the people that we're meant to serve, what would that look like? And took the steps of investing financially in the podcast, investing in a team that's doing video, and helped me set up this home studio, taking the time. It's so much more time to record all these guest interviews in person and coordinate schedules and fly to different cities. But it has been the best investment of time, energy, money that we could have made. So I'm sitting here today with you saying, this is my first step in faith of knowing that we want to grow this platform. We really deeply want to serve more people and really share the message that we're not meant to do business or life alone. And just because I'm taking this first step today and recording this first episode doesn't mean that the visibility is going to come overnight. But the longer I wait for someone else to tell me I'm ready, for someone else to come along and say, hey, you should have your own TV show, or whatever that bigger visibility looks like, I'm actually stalling the process by putting that power into the hands of someone else. So for this first piece of becoming undeniable and really unpacking together, what does that mean? What does it look like for you? I just want you to sit with this question of, what does it look like for you to take the first action step, the first step in faith toward a much bigger vision that maybe you can't even fully see yet? Because if you look deep down, there is an action step that either you've avoided for a while, or it's been kind of nudging you and it just doesn't seem like it's at all related. A lot of times for me, those first action steps and what it looks like to stop denying myself is to take a step that feels kind of unrelated, but it's a test of faith. It's a test to see, am I willing to take the step, even if I don't fully see where it's going to lead or how it's going to add up to this perfect end outcome that I want. That is the first place to look if we're truly going to become undeniable and we're going to become a magnet for the connections, the opportunities, the abundance that you desire this year. And I'm so honored to be on this journey with you, right alongside of you. I feel kind of uncomfortable stepping out and now creating this bigger visibility for the podcast. And that's just, sharing my heart to say that, yeah, I'm uncomfortable right along with you. Even if it doesn't look like it, even though I'm not turning bright red like I did the first time I ever did a Facebook Live, I feel a new sense of discomfort that I know is a sign that it's leading me in the right direction. So you're not alone. You don't have to do this alone. In fact, I don't recommend it. If you're going to step into doing bigger things and creating bigger opportunities for yourself, it is vital that you remember that you are not meant to do any of that alone. And we're going to do it together, starting with this series. Stay tuned for part 2, because I cannot wait to see the people that we become at the end of this year if we remember the fundamentals of what is really required to become undeniable, to step into the version of ourselves that is truly a magnet for the opportunities, the connections, and the abundance that you know you're ready to call in.